Hey guys, wanted to show you what I do when I edit videos. So I have an iPhone, I use an app called iMovie. I want to show you a video and I'll do the edits with this video based off of this week's RE source. Ryan talks about the disc assessment. It's a 29-minute long video, so I want to hack that thing down to where the content is relevant that I can share with you so we can learn something with that, but also show you what I'm doing. If there's any questions on that, I can kind of go back and revert back to why I did it, how I did it. This is to give you guys the tools to create and distribute content via video and social media. It's important for us to understand and know how to take content that maybe isn't ours but has really good information and put it into context that is where it's coming from us. We're the advisor, we are the expert. You don't have to come up with ideas and content and shoot video constantly. You can actually take video that's on the internet that is relevant, that is going to be important, that is going to be useful, explain why it is, do an introduction like I'm doing right now, even voiceover, and then put it out there and try to get some type of engagement. So hopefully this is helpful. If there's any questions, obviously we can stop it, or we can wait till the end and I can explain, or we can have a one-on-one. So hope this helps. Thanks. Okay, so going into iMovie, you're gonna select a new movie, and I'm pulling it from my saved videos. What you do is you're gonna check it, and you can make some edits right there if you want. I typically just dump it into iMovie to start with. So what I'm trying to do is size up where I want to start the video and really try to cut out as much of the fluff as possible to try to get to the main points. So here I've identified where I want to start the video, and so I'm just trying to fine tune it. The tools down below will allow you to splice and delete large sections of the video. There's a thumb or finger slide that you can actually highlight the movie in yellow and adjust it, a couple seconds or however long you want it, up or down. So now that I've identified this, let it run, and as I kind of go through, I'll listen to the video and realize, okay, there's stuff I can cut out here. Again, if you can minimize the amount of content but have an effective message, it's huge. People just simply won't sit there for 30 minutes typically and watch something. If you're trying to get to the point, you'll see that you can cut a lot of it out and still get the message across. You'll see here where I'm kind of jumping forward to try to find where I feel I want to split this and possibly cut it down even further. iMovie unfortunately doesn't have like a set time jump. Like when you watch some videos, you'll see you can forward it or reverse it by 10 or 15 seconds. This you kind of have to just manipulate and kind of figure out and do it by kind of trial and error. So what you'll see here is where I'm choosing how I want to have my splice transition into the next portion of the video. Sometimes it's just a hard and fast where there's nothing there. It starts out completely fresh. But there's also a fade or a dissolve one where it's a little bit softer for the viewer, and then there's one where it's more intentional, where it's a slide or it kind of wipes the screen clean with the new image kind of coming fresh. Some of this is personal preference. Some of it is I guess intentional, just wanting to visually go to a new chapter or topic.
Decisive that person is.
To cut a video that's originally 30 minutes in length down to 10 minutes is not easy, and I feel that the message is important enough that cutting that down even further is not going to do it any justice for the fact that I'm trying to show you really the message of the show for one, but to show you how iMovie has helped me cut that overall content into a third. So it's a little bit easier for the end user, you, to consume that information and have something that's of value. And that's really what we're trying to do, is provide value and create some type of platform where you can engage and have conversations with people. And it's not always going to be about real estate or mortgage. This week we did talk about the pandemic in this show. I cut all that out because I want this to be something that can be used and have value down the line for each of you. That, okay, yeah, I can have something where they're talking about two completely different things, and how they interact on this one topic, but gleam out the information that's specific to the topic that you're wanting to talk about. So hopefully I did a good job in that. I think you'll see that on the final video, where we really don't talk about COVID-19 and the pandemic we're experiencing. We're talking about how communication is important and understanding how you communicate and your strengths and weaknesses, and how your teammates may have a different way of doing that, and it's not necessarily right or wrong. It's just we need to know how to communicate with each other.
Because everybody has a strength, and then everybody's got an area of improvement.
Another function that I'm showing here is how I duplicated one small section and changed the filter on it. I converted it to a black and white filter, and there's several on iMovie. But you can also add text and slow down the speed, or increase the speed of the actual video, or how they're saying it. So I've used this to really try to hit home a message, or to kind of enhance it and make sure that the joke is heard if it's something that's humorous or ironic. So I would challenge you just to kind of get in and use this as something, or try it and see if you're able to get your point across without having to explain too much. Sometimes it's the way I look at it is almost like a mid-video meme, by kind of either making fun or really trying to hit home what they're talking about. So the message here isn't necessarily profound by any means. I just wanted to show you how you can include that in a video to try to get your point across.
So you're not going to do anything with it.
Believe in it, and it's like anything else. You're not going to do anything with it.
So if you just heard that transition, it was a little bit different. Obviously, there was sound to that transition. If you go down to the bottom right-hand corner, there's a settings tab that will give you some more functionality. Here you can actually have the underlying theme throughout the whole video that will give you all black and white, or have like theme music in the background. So there's not much on this page that I use, other than maybe some of the transitions from the very beginning to the end, where you can kind of come in from black and then fade out to black. It just depends on how you want to start and end your video. So there's some other functionalities where you can actually save stuff from the web and bring in either audio or just video, and overlay that over the top here. So I'll show you that here in a minute.
Well, I appreciate it, Tim. If you guys don't follow Tim on...
So this is the area of iMovie that you can pull in video clips. You can actually bring in other, let's say you have an opening that you recorded, which I'll add mine here at the end. And bring that in. You can bring in sound effects. You can bring in different songs. In fact, they have a library of songs, but you can download songs of your own from
as you can tell,
the web.
this has been super helpful for me. I hope you guys have found
Make sure
value
you have
as
the
well.
rights to do that.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, definitely is going to add a ton to what you're trying to do. All right, so here's the final video. Hopefully you see that there's some value in being able to take content and repurposing it and putting a message to it and getting it out in front of your clients. And it doesn't have to be difficult, guys. So let me know what you think.
The topic that we discussed with my team last week was kind of just the mental health aspect around COVID and working from home. So realtors and lenders, tune in, because you're all working from home and you all know that morning can blend into afternoon and blend into night. How do we deal with this? How do we deal with this? And I thought, man, who's really good at understanding, personality profiles? And Tim Davis has been around forever, speaker, influencer, coach, and he's an expert in DISC profiles. So some of you maybe have taken a DISC profile, maybe an SDI profile. If you haven't, I'm going to have Tim kind of open up, kind of explain what DISC is, what their mission is. First, we'll open up with the different profiles, D, I, S, and C. And Tim, can you talk about kind of a little bit about why DISC is important, and then we'll go and start talking about the different profiles. And as Tim's talking, guys, try to identify with one of the profiles, because we're going to get to why this is important and how this helps you navigate this really tough challenge of COVID and working from home.
It's just a makeup of your personality, like your hair color is a certain color or your eye color is a certain color, right? That's all it is. There are 4 characteristics in there, Ryan, a D, I, S, and C. And every human being on the planet has a portion of each 4 in their profile, right?
Gotcha.
So once you understand the 2 primary ones is usually how you'll act. So and most people will have 2 primaries and 2 what I would call dormant.
Okay.
It's how you're made. And the better you can understand how you're made, you can improve performance, communication, and a lot of things about your mental health.
Gotcha. So let's start with D. That's the first one. D stands for dominance from my recollection. It's somebody that's super driven, kind of can take over there for kind of explain what a typical makeup of a D is, and maybe even like, is that an ops person? Is that more of a CEO or an executive?
Yeah, D peoples can really be described as they're just decisive. They're
okay.
The higher the score, the more decisive that person is. So they make quick decisions. They kind of follow a philosophy of, like, rather than making the right decision, they just make a decision and then make the decision right.
So, it may not always be right, but they're quick to make a decision.
They're very quick to make a decision,
okay.
and they're very quick to analyze things. So, but they're very decisive, and they're very opinionated as well. So you do find them. You do find them in entrepreneurship roles, probably. You do often find them in higher level CEO roles, right? They're very, very driven, goal-oriented type of people. They love results.
So strengths, and what should they also be aware of too, because everybody has a strength, and then everybody's got an area of improvement.
One thing that really drives the behavior of a D personality is they're very afraid of failing.
Yeah. So we're gonna come back once we go through the profiles, because again, I want everybody to identify with one. Let's move on to I. I stands for influence. Is that right?
Yeah, it's an influencer, but really, just break it down, they're relational, right? Their whole world is revolved around relationships.
Gotcha.
And their greatest fear is the fear of rejection. So they're doing things to avoid being rejected. They may come off gregarious. They may come off humorous, talkative, lots of gestures, right?
So many people are coming to my head right now as you explain this.
What they're wanting you to do is okay them, approve them, right?
Gotcha.
They don't, if you're a D and the I comes in, like, oh, I had all this awesome stuff happen to me, and you're like, I don't have time for that. That's a rejection to them, and then they isolate. Relationships and fear of rejection, that's your I.
So they excel at relationships then, you're saying?
Naturally.
Gotcha,
I mean,
okay.
they can walk in and it's like you've known them forever. They're just really good at reading the room. I think they have a really high sense of discernment. Like, they can read the emotional context of a room. They can tell if there's a lot of worry or panic going on, or if it's jovial. I mean, they sense all this stuff. So
that sounds like a lot of
great.
salespeople. Is that right? Like, would you say sales? Okay.
Lots
Gotcha.
of salespeople. They love to network. They love to be around crowds.
Okay, so S. We'll move on to S, and that's steadiness.
Very steady,
Okay.
right? You might even find this individual to be kind of monochromatic, I guess is a good way to say. You're never going to find them really high or really low. You're going to find them like steady in the middle. They're constantly trying to run from their fear, which their fear is change. An S wants to be part of a team. They want to be part of a support role. They want to lift other people up. They want to, be involved in charities and various things like that. You're not going to see them run from emotion to emotion, right?
Gotcha.
They're just going to be very steady. You can rely on them. You can count on them. But they're running from the fear of things changing.
That sounds to me like operations, some operations like in mortgage, the secondary people come to mind for me, maybe even some underwriters, people in the lock desk, stuff like that. Or no highs, no lows, kind of just right down the middle. They don't get too emotional about it.
Yeah, they're looking for a team to be a part of. They don't want to be out in front, right? And they don't want to be the decision maker. What they want to do is be a part of a team where they can support the team, right? So that is going to be administrative type of roles, by and large, right? That's what they're looking for, and that's where they're going to excel.
And then last is C, conscientious. Is that correct?
Conscientious, compliance, you can say it that way. These are the rule followers of life.
Oh, for mortgage, then of course compliance people.
Yeah, they're the compliance department. They're also the underwriter.
Okay, true.
Because they're going to follow the rules. They're going to follow the guidelines. They're running from the fear of being wrong, right? So the way they treat their day is, here are the rules, and this is how we follow the rules. And here's the checklist that coincides with the rules. And we're going to start with item 1, and we're going to go to 2, and then 2A if there is, and then 3. We're not going from 1 to 7.
Gotcha.
Right? Internally, they're running away from the fear of being wrong. So they're going to double check and triple check their work. Right? And when you hear from them, if they're really high in that category, you can guarantee they've already done the research. There's no need to question it. They found the guideline and they know what it says. So admin people, underwriters, accountants would be another one.
That makes a lot of sense.
Great people, love them, and got to have them.
So hopefully everybody has kind of figured out which one and there's obviously more to it, but it's a quick show. Hopefully you figured out whether you're a D, I, S, or C. Those that know me, and if you've watched me on the show, probably no surprise, I'm a high D followed by a high I. Tim, what are you?
I'm 99D, 99I. So
off the charts DI.
I'm messed up, right?
So you have no S or C then? Is that how that works, like zeros?
Okay, and I'm a 17C, which literally means if my name was any longer than Tim, the chances of misspelling it would go up dramatically. Okay?
Well, you told me a story and how it's so important to understand DISC profiles and how that can help you work with your team, help you communicate better and increase productivity. But you also told a story about your wife, who's kind of the counterpart of you, eventually just getting to the point of, Tim, you're never going to pick up your clothes in your closet, right? And how'd that play out?
I have good intentions. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I purposely set up with this intention to have a messy closet. Hers is organized by colors and sizes, and it's just, I'm like, that's amazing. I want to be that person, but I can't. So she read my report, right, and said, first she believed in the report. I think that's number one. Like, if you don't believe in it, then it's like anything else. You're not going to do anything with it. So once you believe in it and you understand who you are, it's really important that you read the other person, a spouse, a child, a friend, a coworker,
teammate,
all type people, right? Read their report. It'll help you communicate better with them. When she read mine, she was like, oh my God, she's like 99 on the C. But she read the report, and when she read that, she went, man, for years I've tried to get you to clean up, and I just realized by reading this, all I've done is beat my head up against a brick wall. It's not that you don't want to, it's just that it's not on your radar, nor will it ever be on your radar.
Tim, this is so good. I'm going to throw to you for closing comments, but every week for 10 years, we've tried to come out with the most relevant content. And if it's not relevant, we'll scrap it. And I can't think of anything more relevant than this conversation right now. So if you're an executive, I beg you, share this with your teams. Get your ops people to stop because they're working 7 days a week. Get them to stop for 20 minutes and just stop and watch this. Get their leaders to stop and watch this. But I really appreciate your time. Any closing thoughts as to both lenders that may have done this in the past and it's been on the shelf, might want to dust this off, and then maybe some realtors that have never been through that. I'll give you the closing thoughts on why it's so important.
In personal relationships, marriages or dating, you're usually working with the opposite personality of you. And there's real attraction. We've always heard that, opposites attract. In business relationships, you're probably working with similar people, right? Like especially referral partners. Like I's go after I's, D's go after D's. But at the end of the day, understand that how you learn and how you teach is not how other people learn and how they teach. So if you want to be the best version of yourself in a higher level of leadership, you have to adjust that. Sorry, that's my dog. You have to adjust that down, right? She's a high 10, right, by the way. But you have to adjust that down and meet people on their level. So that would be my final thoughts.
Well, I appreciate it, Tim. If you guys don't follow Tim on social, find him. Wealth of knowledge, as you can tell. This has been super helpful for me. I hope you guys have found value as well. And we'll see you guys next week.